guys? Welcome back to the Good Success Podcast. I am your host, Josh Culler, and today we are Facebook Live again, and we are with our good buddy, Ken Lacy with Veterans Path Up. What's going on, Ken? How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, guys. How are y'all doing?
Ken Lacy in the house.
In the house.
He's right here in our office.
In his house, maybe.
He's in his house.
He's in his, yeah.
We're right
in
here.
Charlotte, North Carolina. Is that where you're at right now, Charlotte, right?
I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina. I appreciate you guys bringing me into y'all's home, and it's an absolute privilege.
Awesome. So Ken is actually a part of our Good Success Mastermind, and we actually came by. I'm not sure how you met him. I'm sure it was through one of Walter's events or something.
I think so, yeah. So on a cruise.
Yeah. So Ken's network is our network is Ken's network, and we're all good buddies and everything. So we're going to come back around to Ken and actually talk about this. You guys are going to be very, very excited to hear what Veterans Path Up is all about. It's an amazing, amazing nonprofit charity that we're very excited to talk about. So before we get into that, we do have a few things to talk about. So we got our Community Go-Giver event that's coming up July 25, 26, and 27. And Mr. Ken Lacy is actually going to be there as one of our Community Go-Givers. And we're very excited to have him there to talk about Veterans Path Up and things that they've accomplished and things they're working on now with their new chapters and everything. So, Tom?
Yes.
Let's talk about the Community Go-Giver event.
The Community Go-Giver event. So Ken is one of our, what I would call Community Go-Givers. And every single day we kind of have a spot. So we have a spot on day one for Community Go-Giver, and that is going to be me talking about my vision of flipping the city of Gary. And actually, I'm super excited to have Carol Ellis going to be with us because she's actually helped with other communities around the country. And we might do some of that together, but we're going to talk about how to flip communities and how what you do really affects your community. And day two, we've got Eddie Wilson. He's talking about what he does with Christian Media International and how he works all that. And then day three is Ken Lacy. He is going to be there, one of our featured speakers, and telling us about what he does with Veterans Path Up and all the cool things that he's doing to help veterans. I think you say give them a hand up instead of a hand out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like he is one of the spots. I'm super excited about it every single day. Day one, it has kind of its own theme. Day one's fix and flip. Day two is about turnkey and rentals. And day three is about low-income housing. And I think yours fits pretty well with that low-income housing as well. Walter Wolford's going to be there that last day talking about how he uses trusts and IRAs, self-directed IRAs, to invest tax-free in low-income housing areas, and how Walter is helping 1,000 people become homeowners. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be awesome to tie it all together and end it really with Ken, and it's going to be an awesome event. If you guys haven't signed up, go to www.communitygogiver.com. I promise you seats will sell out. We only have 80 tickets, and we will not be able to sell any more than that. So
yep.
I know people say that sometimes, but for us, we just can't do it. So like I said, I'm super excited. Every day we have a networking event going on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And every day we're going to go out and look at a house. So, I think all those things are going to be fun. I'm super excited about it and super pumped.
So I got a little bit of a sneak. Should we show them this?
Yeah, sure.
So you guys are getting a sneak peek right here.
This is going to be our theme.
So this is going to be one of our themed t-shirts for the weekend at the Community Go-Giver event. If you guys can't see that, we'll post it down below this mock-up here. So Ken, how does that look? That's a cutout of the city of Gary. And it says, what's your vision? And then hashtag flipping Gary. So we're going to be selling that at the Community Go-Giver event. I'm excited about that. That's going to be really cool.
I know they're going to sell out, so put my name on one. I'm good for it.
we'll order you an extra one.
We just sold our first T-shirt from Good Success.
We don't even have
it here, everybody.
Man, we don't even have it officially launched yet. That's awesome. So yeah, awesome stuff. So the Community Go-Giver event, Kevin's going to be on the links, everything that we're talking about, Ken's website and everything. We are going to be talking about one of his events that he's going to have in July as well. Yes. That'll be linked below as well. So you guys make sure you check out the links. And then we have our Good Success Mastermind coming up August 9, 10, and 11. goodsuccess.com/mastermind. Like we said, Ken is actually a part of that mastermind. Ken, what do you think about the mastermind? Good? Yeah? Yes?
I think it is absolutely amazing. Anybody who's just thought, I don't have the time, you can't afford not to do it. And you guys are just the top notch. It's just a privilege to be part of you guys.
We appreciate it. And Ken
this event actually came out of one of the discussions that happened when he was on the hot seat, when he was up there asking people like, what do I do? We were like, you should do these events, Ken. And so this event that he's doing right now was kind of born at the Good Success Mastermind.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Ken actually won our charity award for the Good Success Mastermind community. And Ken, you got it with you?
He's going to show everybody. All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, look at that piece of hardware.
Look at that.
That is
Ken
awesome.
Lacy,
That's
charity
awesome.
award. So our core values are charity, stewardship, community, and growth. And every single quarter we give out one of those core value awards, and he won our very first one for charity.
That's awesome. We're glad you have it up in your office and you're displaying that bad boy out there.
Thanks, guys. It goes right next to a paddle I got when I got back from being deployed to the Middle East.
Wow.
Way
awesome.
back when I was a junior enlisted guy, and I got Sailor of the Quarter.
Well, that's awesome.
Well, we are honored that we get to be next to that paddle.
You got
awesome.
Mastermind member of the quarter for us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
So the Good Success Mastermind, guys, it's an elite group of real estate investors from across the country and business owners that come together, collaborate, and help solve each other's problems, network, go over opportunities, and all that kind of stuff. Like Tom said,
really
one of these
encourage
things.
each other to do better and to do good, and really to work to have to give. I mean, so yes, it is about real estate. Yes, it is about business. But we also really want to be an encouragement to people to do the right thing at all time, but also to help as many people as we can help and have that focus. And that's what our core focus, and that's what we should be doing every day. There's so much emotion out there about things that are bad, and we need to put emotion in business, but emotion needs to be what's good about what you're doing and all the positive messages that you can get out there.
100%. Awesome stuff. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind. You guys go check it out there if you want to know more information about the mastermind, how to sign up. We do have you fill out applications so that we can see, yes, the volume that you're doing, but also what type of person you are, what character you have if you go along with our actual core values and that kind of thing. So goodsuccess.com/mastermind. We'll have a link below if you guys are interested. So today, actually, we're gonna do a little bit of a curveball for you guys. So normally I do the interview and ask the question for them,
it's
for
a
you too.
For me.
So I have actually been under the weather the past couple days.
I'm sweating. I'm so nervous.
I'm sweating bullets because I'm so sick right now. So,
oh, maybe I'm sick. I'm not nervous.
I might be giving it to you right now. So don't put
Tom.
Yeah, we're gonna put a wall up here. So I'm a little bit under the weather in case you guys didn't notice. Sound stuffy and everything. So Tom has is going to step up. I didn't say I wouldn't say that he agreed to it. It was more of like he didn't really have a choice.
I just put on the spot. I'm going to do it. Whatever. I'll take one for the team. I'm here. Whatever it takes.
So this is Tom's practice round.
This is my practice.
Doing an interview.
If I screw up, you are the guinea pig.
Yes, but I wanted to make sure that I was here with Ken's interview. So, we're going to go ahead and get into this.
All right. So
Tom,
Ken,
let's get into it.
Ken Lacy, what is your background? So like, I'm assuming you're a veteran. So maybe give us your story, your background. What did you get into after you were in the military? Let's just kind of start there.
So you don't want me to go back to my first job when I was 12, scooping ice cream?
Everything, but like, just kind of like, you don't have to give me stories. Just kind of tell us what you've done.
So when I first went into the Navy in '85, I was on a nuclear submarine for 4 years, and I decided I didn't really want to stay on submarines. I was a scuba diver as an auxiliary job on the submarine, and that's what I wanted to get into. So after still a 3-year security stint overseas, I got my first real mentor, and that mentor was a Navy SEAL, explosive ordnance disposal master technician, and he was the commanding officer of where I was attached at that time. And he took me under his wing, and I decided to go down the EOD route. So I became an EOD diver and ultimately a Navy diver in the Navy Reserves. And then while I was in the reserves, I became a commercial diver in my civilian job. So at the same time that I was a Navy diver in the reserves, I was also a commercial diver in the civilian sector. So everything that I just gave you was 9 years of active duty and 17 years of reserves to bring you up to that point.
Okay, so what did you get into right after that?
So after moving to Charlotte, I was in the IT business. I worked for a private equity firm, and ultimately I got into real estate. And my first entry into real estate was actually the discount note business, and acquiring discount notes from hedge funds, working those out through a number of exit strategies, whether it be getting the the person who's living in the house reperforming on their loan, or giving them an easy exit out and deed in lieu of foreclosure, cash for keys, what have you. But the discount note business started getting expensive. So instead of 10 to 15 cents on the dollar that we could buy those notes for, they were going up to 60, 70, 80, 90 cents on the dollar even. So I partnered with a local real estate investor here in Charlotte, and those relationships that I had nurtured, people that had a bunch of self-directed IRAs, they didn't know where to go. And so I started investing their self-directed IRAs and properties here in Charlotte, totally rehabbing them, putting tenants in them under property management, and then selling those to turnkey investors. At this time, that coincided with me starting to go to some of the veteran organization luncheons and groups and what have you. And I was literally at a luncheon in 2013, and the leader of that luncheon learned what I was doing with the houses that we were rehabbing, and he said, we need to put veterans in those homes. And that's where it started relative to Veterans Path Up. But that was 2 years before we even started Veterans Path Up. So over the next 2 years, just more as a hobby than anything, we were helping close to 30 veterans get into homes during that period.
Wow. Okay. That's awesome. So that's pretty much how Veterans Path Up got started, or did Veterans Path Up kind of come after that?
So that got us up to the point where people were like, well, why don't you go to the big banks and ask them to give you their foreclosed properties and stuff? And I did that. And the first thing I got was, well, you need to be a nonprofit for us to give you foreclosed properties. And the reality is, I said, so you're saying that if we created a nonprofit, because I knew it was going to take 6 months, 9 months, or possibly longer to create a nonprofit. And they're like, well, no, you've got to be around for at least 2 years before we would even think about it. Mm. And so there was a lot of hurdles that made it so I didn't really want to create Veterans Path Up. But I was, you know Wendy Sweet, don't you?
Yes, absolutely. Known her for a long time.
So Wendy's got a real estate breakfast on Friday mornings, and she knew what I was doing with veterans at the time. She knew the challenges, but she also knew that I was thinking about starting a nonprofit. And I met with somebody right before I had a meeting with Wendy, and this person who is a avid nonprofit and veteran person in the arena of veterans told me, you know, it's really cool what you're doing, Ken, but you cannot make a homeowner out of a homeless veteran. You just can't do it. You need to abandon that idea. And that was a big blow to me. And just a few days later, I asked Wendy if she would talk to me about it, because I was at a fork in the road and I needed to make a decision on where I was going to go. And it was literally after a Sunrisers breakfast where I sat down with Wendy. I told her all the challenges that I was going through. And at the end of that, she said, well, let's pray about it. And I was like, okay, well, let's pray about it. So she and I prayed in that restaurant about the situation. At the end of it, she looked at me and she said, you know what you have to do, don't you? And we had both received the same answer, and that was we had to create Veterans Path Up. And so that's where Veterans Path Up started. And the very next, well, it was, I put together a board of directors, and we incorporated Veterans Path Up. We put in the paperwork for the 501c3, and just 6 weeks later, we got granted our 501c3. So it did not take 9 months like I thought it was going to be. It took 6 weeks. And that very week, we were donated our first house.
That's awesome. Wow.
That's a pretty cool story. And I mean, that just goes to show you sometimes, like, all the fears that we have are just in our heads. We just got to get all that trash out of our heads and just, like, do what we've been put on this earth to do. And yep. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Ken, and I've watched him, and I've said to myself, I really want to be a part of this organization at some day, and I still do plan on it at some point, having a Gary chapter here, and it's going to go right along with our Flipping Gary, as that's going to kind of be a piece of it, because we do have a lot of veterans in this area, and just as much as the city of Gary needs help, so do those homeless veterans. So I'm super pumped to be friends, and I love hanging out with you, Ken. So can you just tell us, maybe tell the audience, I think I know what Veterans Path Up does, but what does Veterans Path Up do? Like what, just kind of lay it out there for, what's the process?
So what we do is we help honorably discharged veterans get into the homes that we rehab. We work with their credit. We now contractually obligate them to take financial training classes to get to the point where they can get a loan to buy their home. So as you said, it's a true hand up as opposed to a handout, because we believe that everyone, doesn't matter whether you're a veteran or not, you need to become a good steward of your money. And unless it comes with education and skin in the game, I've seen where programs where properties were just flat out donated to someone, and over a few years they lose it. And it comes down to financial awareness, financial education, and anybody who's ever read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, if you haven't read it, I highly recommend you reading it. And I'm pretty sure you guys have.
Oh, yeah, several times.
Got it right here.
It teaches a person to become a good steward of their money, and that's what it's all about.
So you're not just helping veterans get a house, you're actually trying to help give them education and be able to have those skills, those financial skills, to be able to move on and maybe even get a nicer house at some point down the road.
Teaching a man how to fish. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And although we're pretty focused on what Veterans Path Up's mission, which is centered around housing, there's another book you like, and there's a character in that book called the Connector. A lot of what we do is connect the dots there, because I'm not going to help a veteran turn their 40-page job description from the military into a resume. But I know an organization that does that. They're called Patriots Path. They can take the job description from the military and put into a perfect 2-page civilian resume. You, as an employer, don't want to look at a military job description because you're not going to understand the jargon or anything else. I connect the dots with getting job placement, down payment assistance on the house once the veteran is qualified for a loan. We've gotten a veteran $15,000 of down payment assistance on the house that they ultimately bought from us, and they rented it before they got to that point. They started with a 420 credit score, and now they're a homeowner with their VA loan. So we do a lot of connecting the dots, and of course that's the Go-Giver book, The Connector and the Go-Giver. And
absolutely, that's being the conduit, not a bucket.
That's right. That's right. So
Ken's trying to find somebody who needs his help, and then he's trying to find other people that he knows can help them, and just connecting them.
That's right. That's right. And so partnerships and networking are the lifeline to any organization, certainly Veterans Path Up.
So what is the mission then for Veterans Path Up? Like, I think I've heard you say this before, but like, what is the mission? Like, what would you like to accomplish for Veterans Path Up?
Well, my long-term mission is to, quite frankly, end veteran instability in homes, not just in Charlotte or North Carolina, but in the entire United States. And and with you guys in Gary being a chapter in the near future, Mo Matthews in Richmond, and we've got pending chapters in Dallas and Houston, up in Maine. I've got a retired naval officer that literally called me up one day, flew down here to check out the operations over a couple days. I went and introduced him to some of our veterans. He then went up and met with Mo in Richmond, and they're going to be coming down here for our event next month, and they want to have a chapter. We've got people in Jacksonville and Orlando. So the momentum is there. And each region is different as well. You guys don't have a shortage of houses where you guys are. In Charlotte, Charlotte, I'm having a hard time getting houses.
Oh, the shortage is coming.
That's right. Well,
It's fast approaching, so don't think that you're the only person. That's true. It's pretty much everywhere. It's happening right now. So you've talked about this event a couple times. Why don't you just like lay it out there for us? What are the dates? How do people sign up? How do they get a hold of you?
How can I get one of those cups?
Yes. How do we get one of those cool cups? How do we get one of those shirts? Like, tell us.
This is a prototype cup that I've never had duplicated yet. Although we have the small ones of it, but that's my favorite.
Tell us about the event and how do people sign up and how do people join?
So the event is on July 13th and 14th. It's going to be at the Ingersoll Rand corporate headquarters. Ingersoll Rand, who owns Train Air Conditioning, has actually donated HVAC systems on the last house that we did.
Awesome. And
you can go to VPU pavethepath.sked, SCHED.com. And we've got an amazing group of speakers there that are going to be speaking. And I think Jim Ingersoll wants to come just because it's Ingersoll Rand. That's what he says, but I know that's not the case. But Jim Ingersoll, Augie Bylot out of Orlando, Florida, has the same goal that you do, Tom, which is over his lifetime to give to charitable organizations $1 billion.
Awesome.
We've got Larry Goins. We've got Glenn Stromberg from Dallas. We've got Quincy Long and Walter. I'm going to pair them up and double team them, so they're going to be at the same time.
That'll be trouble.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to nurture. We've got Wendy Sweet and Bill Fairman. Bill is Wendy's brother, and they're going to double team as well. We've got Gary Harper. He's our system traction guy. We have Walter, like I said. We have Mo Matthews coming down from Richmond. He's our Richmond chapter. We've got Mary Hart, who's just an Airbnb queen of VRBO and all of that stuff. And I think I'm missing somebody. I think I'm missing Tom Olson.
Oh, yeah.
It's okay. I always forget to mention you for our community go-giver event when we're announcing our speakers.
But I'd like to articulate something that happened yesterday. I went the very veterans luncheon that sort of started this over 4 years ago. I had just sat down with another veteran that I invited to go there because it's amazing. Veterans just don't know the resources that they have. And a gentleman sat down next to me. And he said, "Do you remember me?" I said, "Of course I remember you." Now, I remember that he had called me up about 1.5 years ago, but I didn't know what had happened from that. He said, "Yeah, I was homeless. You got me a job. You got me a place to live. And then that job turned into a better job. And now this is the company I work for." And he had a nice logoed shirt on. And it's amazing how when something like that comes back around, that's what I truly believe is good success. It has nothing to do with money. It's the people you touch. It's the people that, the lives you've impacted. And it just gives me goosebumps to know that a year later, he came to the Veterans Luncheon that started this 4 years ago. It's just incredible.
I just have to stop you right there, Josh. I think I'm doing such a good job.
You're doing incredible.
Because he's already answered
the question.
He's answering the questions before I even tell him the questions. It's like we're just leading the conversation.
Well, what was the question?
Right there. Well, our last question is, what is good success to you? Like, good success to us is, like doing the right thing, being a conduit, not a bucket, work to have, to give. It's all about like the communities, and it's about the people that you can help, and kind of like what you just said. But so that's kind of our last, question that we normally, end with is, what does good success mean to you? And you kind of just spilled it out there for us.
So that's going to do it for today's episode.
Okay,
guys.
see you later. No. So can you do us a favor and just repeat one more time, because it was a little complicated, how somebody can buy tickets for the event for your
event. We'll have the website link below too. For Kevin's going to link that below, so you guys go directly.
So it's basically go to right there,
Okay. So it's VP
So,
path up.
yeah.
Shed.
You guys have that, don't you?
Yeah, we got it. Well, we'll have it linked below for them to
So
go
we'll
ahead and
link it
purchase
below.
tickets.
Do you guys have a Facebook page or anything that you would like for people to follow?
We do have a Facebook page. You can go to the website. You can access it from the website. You can access it from the Facebook page. You can go straight to that website, dpupavethepath.shed.com. Or you can go to you guys, because y'all are posting it almost daily, right?
Almost
daily.
So there's a lot of different avenues on how to do it. So there's a discount if you register 2 people at the same time. There's also an amazing networking event on the night between the 2 days. So, but that's only capped at 35 people. I think there's already about 26 signed up. But we've got pontoon boats that are going to be sort of a moonlight cruise, and many of the speakers are going to be on those boats. So anybody who wants to have a direct one-on-one with all of you guys, it's definitely going to be worth it.
Do I need to sign up for that?
That you can sign up for that also.
Do I need to sign up for it though?
You don't have to sign up for it as long as you know how to drive a boat or drop an anchor.
Okay. Do you know how to do either of those? You can kayak, but I
don't know. I just turned the wheel, right? Okay.
All you have to do is let us know that you do want to do that.
All right. I want to do that. So put me on there.
All right. You got it.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So, tell us something. So we kind of already ended this already. So now we're kind of going back.
We can backtrack. So, it's not a big deal.
I was doing so good, and then like you went to the end, and then now I got to pull you back.
I'm sorry, I disrupted.
We talked about the mission, but tell us. So another question we'd like to ask everybody is like, tell us something that you know now that you wish you would have known when you got started with Veterans Path Up. We always like to make help people, give them a little bit extra speed and help them skip some of those mistakes that other people make. Yep. And it's much more fun to learn from other people's mistakes than from our own. So, so tell us something that you know now that you wish you would have known when you got started.
Wow, there's so many. The School of Hard Knocks. It's important to have a strategic board, a working board when you don't have the funds or assets to just go out and pay for new employees right off the bat. I think I've got a strategic board, and in the beginning we didn't, but that was because everybody was so busy. So it's hard to find somebody who's not busy, and the people that aren't busy are usually not the people you want. So that's
true. It's kind of like employees, right?
Yeah.
So it's a fine line on that, but really aligning yourself with organizations that have the same core values that you do is so important, and that's one reason I love you guys at Good Success. It's one reason I like the Financial Friends Network, because people are so focused on not themselves. It's about the bigger picture, and it's about being part of having a legacy. And I think having a legacy is just important, in that it's surrounding yourself with the right people. That's the biggest thing. But it's also the partnerships are huge. Now, we've developed some amazing partnerships. But I was trying to do everything myself in the beginning, and you can't do everything yourself. You just can't do it. So leveraging other organizations, and I like to say that, I've got a good relationship with different government entities as well. And a lot of what we do is to help the government work better, and to be able to utilize government resources and help them to do what they were created for is pretty cool when they come back and say, you know, you did a really good job of getting this veteran into a house. And because so many of the veterans that are referred to us are referred from government organizations that just don't know what to do with them. They don't have the solutions. And so much of that is, you know, having the hand up mentality, not the entitlement mentality. And that's not what we're about. We're all about, you know, truly giving the man, teaching the man to fish, not giving the man the fish.
Awesome. So, I mean, a lot of people that we've had on this podcast have said, like, thought he was supposed to work hard and outwork everybody. But he learned that his business should serve himself. And I started thinking about that. And I'm like, well, I'm not sure. Like, I feel like we're here to serve God and we're here to serve people. And maybe the business should serve us. Maybe we should create businesses that serve us to a certain degree, but we have to make sure that we also know that we're still there to serve the people that are in our business and people that are our customers. So that's awesome. And I mean, you guys can just tell why I like Ken so much, because he really does get it. He understands that, you know, we're not just here to make a bunch of money. At the end of the day, who cares? Whoop-de-doo. We're really here to make a difference. We're really here to leave a legacy. You know, legacy is currency in itself. You know, just to have influence and have that legacy. People will, whatever you're known for is way more important than how much money you have in the bank. So I think that might be it. Like, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Well, I'd like to hear a story from Ken.
Okay.
Ken's got some amazing stories
of
people that he's actually helped. And normally he shows them videos, but we're, you know, going to bypass that today because we got him on a podcast. So Ken, tell us a story about because everybody loves stories, right? And especially a true story is always going to hit home, especially with this specific, you know, veterans path up and that kind of thing. So tell us a story of somebody that you actually helped out through veterans path up to have them be a homeowner.
I tell you what, I've got amazing stories. You want to have a story about a woman or a story about a man?
Let's do one of both. We still got time. We'll do both of them.
So just so you know that I don't just go to a single story, because there's story after story after story of our veterans. One story is a veteran. He came to me. He was a referral from one of the nonprofit organizations that are funded by the Veterans Administration. He had a job, but he had extremely bad credit. No property management company would give him the time of day, or landlord would give him the time of day, and he was living in his truck. And every time I saw him, you could see the back of his truck was loaded with trash bags of clothes. And the day of the ribbon cutting ceremony for when he was going to move into the house, and we had all the people that had volunteered on the house and the city who had donated the house to us were there, and he drove up in his truck, and that day he was living in his truck, and he moved in, and he got some subsistence with the intent that he wasn't going to get subsistence for a while. But what I did was, and this was my idea to help government work better. So they gave $700 a month on his behalf for 6 months. Well, in prior situations where I had accepted a finite period of money for the veterans, on the month that they were on the hook to pay their own rent, they couldn't come up with it, which is part of the education piece of it. So real quick, for this veteran, what I did with him was I contracted him to pay $300 the first month, $350 the second, $400 the third, and stair-stepped it on up. On the sixth, and he did this, on the 6th month, when the next month he was going to be on the hook for the rent himself, he had a $2,550 credit towards a down payment to purchase the house. And so he went from homeless to having $2,500 of money as a credit towards a down payment on the house. Now, to me, that's success, because he got acclimated along the way. He didn't even go through financial training classes, but simply by being held to doing that, he was ready for that 7th month when he was on the hook for it. And that's just one of many. And that's helping people to become good stewards of their money.
And that's financial. That's a better financial course than you would have if you even went to and took a financial course. I mean, actually doing it, physically doing it, is so much more valuable.
Absolutely.
All right. So you told us you're going to tell us more about a man and a woman. So let's.
All right. So one of the women that we put into a house, it was actually the very first veteran that we put into a home. She had twin 5-year-old daughters. She had 2 jobs. She was working at the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, was one part-time job, and she had another part-time job. And she didn't have any benefits because there were 2 part-time jobs. But she was living in a women's shelter. And she had 2 jobs, twin 5-year-old daughters, had done a tour in Afghanistan, had been a battered wife, was now separated from her husband and was on her own. And at any given night, she had to decide whether she wanted to stay in the women's shelter where she hated, or she'd pile her and her 2 daughters up in their car and sleep in the car that night.
Wow.
And that's with 2 jobs. And so she was the first person that we put into a house. And it's all about stable housing, because once she got into that house, she was flourishing and she had a goal. She knew that in 5 months, she was going to be able to go full-time at the airport, quit her other part-time job, then have benefits. And it all started with stable housing. And so that's one of many of the other stories that we have.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Now, real quick, going back to the first story that actually you told, you had mentioned getting help from some people that actually helped rehab the home.
Yeah.
You get a lot of help from places like the Home Depot and maybe a couple other places. Can you talk about how maybe somebody that's listening here might have an opportunity presented to them with helping out with Veterans Path Up and maybe, helping rehab a home or something like that? But what has come across your plate with help with actually building these homes and getting the actual projects done?
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because there's something people can do across the whole United States to help veterans that are living in their homes now. Now, Home Depot is committed to a grant a quarter with us of $25,000 in a material gift card for whatever house we may be rehabbing at that time. But more locally, every Home Depot is mandated by corporate to take on a project every quarter. And there is a huge shortage of projects. There's no huge shortage of projects, but there's a huge shortage of conduit or connectors to connect those projects. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we have 13 Home Depots that fall under the head region guy that every one of those Home Depots is supposed to take on a project up to $5,000 in-home rehabs for a veteran. So if somebody'd like to get involved, get connected with their local Home Depot, wherever that may be, they have a hard time finding projects to do. And so this is one of their veteran outreach projects. And literally yesterday, we had a rehab project. The Charlotte Hornets, which is the basketball team that Michael Jordan owns here, between the Charlotte Hornets and Bank of America, they approached me a few weeks ago, said, hey, do you have a veteran project? This is their yearly veteran project, and 2 weeks before it's supposed to be, they didn't have one. And it started with an email to me saying, hey, do you have a veteran project that we can put the Charlotte Hornets on June 12th between 10:30 and 3? So how restrictive was that? So I just happen to know a veteran that's Air Force veteran, Vietnam, 61 through 65. He was injured while he was in the military, and he needed a wheelchair ramp. So we ended up having a lot more work to prep for that wheelchair ramp, but we had the Hornets and Bank of America volunteers come out and transform that yard just yesterday. And so the Hornets are paying for all of the materials, but we're building them a new deck. And in a few weeks, they'll be getting a wheelchair ramp too.
That's incredible.
So there's huge amount of resources, and sometimes it's just a matter of connecting the dots.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. You got anything else?
No, that's awesome. I appreciate that. I mean, really, like, I think it's exactly what he said. Like, we just have to look. It's about where you position yourself. It's not about, like, if you position yourself that you want to take, and you want to be that person that's only getting what's good for you, then you'll completely miss all the opportunity in life. Mm-hmm. And, you know, to me, good success is about putting myself in the best position to be able to help everybody and to be able to be that connector. And it's really what this whole world, in my opinion, it's not just Home Depot, it's not just veterans, it's what the whole world is lacking. People that are willing to be the conduits, than people that are wanting to. Everybody wants to own the bucket. Everybody has this dream to be this millionaire and sit on a beach somewhere. And I don't think that's what life's all about.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So,
you know, I'll go one more step. Good success to me is if during my lifetime I'm out of a job, because if we've ended veteran instability in homes in the United States, I don't need a job. So then I'll just go on and do something else. But I would love to be out of a job as soon as possible. And I need people in Gary, Indiana that want to have a chapter, and across the whole United States. So I appreciate all that you guys are doing.
That's amazing.
I'm excited. I'm bringing Brad with me. So Brad was a veteran. He works for us. And when we do start the Veterans Path Up chapter, Brad will be in charge of that for us. So always looking for to make that happen.
Absolutely. Ken, you got to leave our audience with one thing, whether it's a piece of advice or a quote that you like to hear or whatever it is. Or tip, something like that. Just one thing that you got to leave with the audience. What would that be?
You can't stop educating yourself. Number one tip, get Tom's top 10 list of books to read, because that's where I started when I decided I'm going to start reading more.
Awesome. That's a good top 10 list.
It is.
That's a really good top 10.
I think so. It's my top 10.
It is. So, Ken, we appreciate you being on the podcast today, man.
Thank you for coming on.
It's been awesome, and we look forward to having Tom out there. I'm actually going to be at a Think Realty event, so I won't be able to make it, but Tom will be there with Brad, of course, and Brad's awesome. You're going to get to meet him. He's a fantastic guy.
I think Becky wants to come too, so Becky might come out. I know Josh. You know Josh Belk's coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, he is registered ahead of time.
Yes, he's bringing his wife Angie, and it's going to be awesome.
Awesome stuff. So you guys, we're going to have that linked below if you guys are interested in going to that event. That's going to be in Charlotte?
Yep.
It's going to actually be in Davidson, which is just north of Charlotte. But anybody flying in is going to be flying into Charlotte Douglas International Airport.
Awesome. So you guys heard it yourself. So make sure you check out the link below. Kevin's going to have it linked for you. And then also their website and their Facebook page. So you guys can make sure you go like their Facebook page and follow them there. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. Ken, again, thanks for being on the podcast. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks, but then again at the Community Go-Giver event for us on that. That'll be the 27th. He's going to be speaking as a Community Go-Giver. So you guys will get to see him there if you are registered for the Community Go-Giver event. And if you have not registered, make sure you go to communitygogiver.com. Prices are going to go up soon, and we are going to sell out soon. We don't have 80 seats available right now. That is what we're selling out at. So make sure you guys don't miss out on that. You're going to have a lot of fun there. It's going to be heavy networking, a lot of education for you guys, and a lot of opportunity to come across some opportunities. And then our Good Success Mastermind, which Ken Lacy is a part of, goodsuccess.com/mastermind. You guys can check it out there. Fill out the application, and we would love to talk to you about joining the mastermind in the group that Ken has talked about, and that several of the interviewees that we've had on this podcast are actually a part of. So that's going to do it for today's episode, guys. If you are not already, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We're on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and Stitcher. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you did join us Facebook Live. If you didn't, we are live every Friday at 12 noon Central Standard Time. So make sure you join us. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.